Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be doing another speed paint, and this will be one speed paint that I have been looking forward to doing for a while now. It is a then versus now. So I just recently found an old sketchbook that I had when I was 6 years old, and I was looking through it and I decided I wanted to redraw this character I made in this little crayon sketch that I had called Sabro. And it's kind of if a cat-zebra hybrid creature. And yeah, so I decided that I wanted to redraw him in my current state, and yeah. I can't really say current style because I am still struggling to find out what my style really is. I definitely know I want to do a cartoony kind of stylized style, but I haven't found anything that really fits and feels consistent. I think I've definitely found a style for eyes that I really enjoy, especially for animals, but that's pretty much it so far. I don't really have a substantial style yet because I am not all that practiced yet. But yeah, I really wanted to do this because I've seen a lot of YouTubers and a lot of other artists do this, where they have their old sketchbooks and they redraw something that they did when they were very young. I would have redrawn something that was more recent, I guess. Well, not more recent, but like not crayon era, I guess. But actually, when I was doing art when I was like a kid, I had a bunch of sketchbooks that I used. Well, they weren't really sketchbooks, they were more like little tiny notebooks with pictures of cats on the cover and stuff. You know, the kind of notebook that every kid wants to have in elementary school and middle school. And I guess when I was in 6th grade, I was looking back through them, and I really was embarrassed of what I drew. Like, I thought it was really terrible and horrible, so I just kind of threw them all out. Yeah, so this is like one of the only sketchbooks that survived that. Probably because I didn't know it existed. My mom recently found it and gave it back to me, and I was really excited, and I looked through it and there was so much cute things. There are just random pages just filled with me writing letters over and over and over again, and I don't know what I was thinking doing that, but I seem to really enjoy doing letters. I think another one of my favorite pages, besides the one I'm redrawing, is this one page where I like to write a sentence and then draw something to go with that sentence. And on the very last page of the sketchbook, I have the sentence, "I like nap," and then there's just a picture of me asleep on a mat. Because when we were in kindergarten and 1st grade, we had nap time, and we'd get out these little yoga mats and kind of just sleep on them for like 20 minutes or so. And I guess I really enjoyed it, and I can relate past me, like relatable. I too like nap. But back to what's going on. I'm just sketching out my new concept for Sabro. Yeah, it's turning out a little bit more cat than zebra, but when I originally drew, the proportions were just so off. It's like, oh my gosh, how do I redraw this without it looking terrible as well? I kept its weird floppy ears with the pink insides, and the very weird kind of just oval tail. And also the fact that it has little boots kind of at the end of its feet. For some reason, I gave it a really weird, like, black box by its neck, so I tried to translate that into kind of a collar for this one, because I do not know what I was thinking when I was drawing the original, but oh well. Okay, time to transition into another talking topic. Woo! So, I know I like to talk about Inktober a lot. It's still very relevant to me right now because it actually, I thought after Inktober was done, I would just kind of go back to how I did art, like maybe one finished piece per month or a few unfinished pieces per week. Not much, very little. But after doing Inktober, I have found myself being really motivated . But I actually started, I believe I've said this already, but I'm just gonna repeat myself. I started taking it seriously about a year ago when I was just wandering around YouTube, and I ended up on the art side of YouTube, and I started really following all of these art accounts, and I started being like, hey, I really want to be able to create something like that. I want to be able to do that too. So I got out a foam poster board and some really cheap poster paints, like super cheap and old. They were like from when I was in middle school, and I was high school senior, I believe. And I had the and all I had for brushes were really cheap poster paint brushes that came with the paints. And of course I had some Sharpies, so I used those as well in my painting. And I decided I'm gonna paint a flower and it's gonna be pretty. It was not pretty. I went out onto my deck with my little paints and my paintbrushes, and I was like, I'm gonna fill this entire poster board with a magnificent painting. It was hideous. It was absolutely horrible. But I was super proud of it. I actually went ahead and posted it on Instagram and Snapchat, and I was like, being like, first painting ever. Like, I thought it was the prettiest flower I had ever, that could ever be painted by me. Like, I thought it was my magnum opus. And it was really horrible. It was horrible. It was an abomination. So that really got me into like, oh man, I really like this painting. It's really fun. I want to do more. I want to learn how to do more. This was really fun to do as a hobby. So I went out to Hobby Lobby and I bought this beginner sets of acrylic paints, and there were these little tiny paint buckets, almost like little, not tubes, but like almost like Tupperware containers where you unscrew the lid and there's just like a little bit of paint in there. And I got this beginner's brush kit, and I looked at canvases, but I was like, whew, too expensive for me, too rich for my blood. So I went to the dollar store and I went down to the art and school supply aisle, and I saw those foam poster excuse me, I cannot. These foam poster boards that you're supposed to use for like school posters, and I bought all of the poster boards that that dollar store had, which was about a total of 5 poster boards. And I got out my X-Acto knife, and I cut them into really small squares so that they were about canvas size, and I started painting, and I watched a few YouTube tutorials and I did a lot of acrylic paintings until I actually ran out of paint. And I found it really fun, and a lot of them are really, really bad, but I didn't know that. And eventually I was like, I want to start working on canvas. And I actually went to Goodwill. I went to a lot of secondhand stores and clearance art supplies in art stores, and I bought the cheapest paints possible because it was just a hobby for me and I didn't want to dedicate a lot of money to it. So I bought these cheap paints and I just had a random bucket of these random paints. I still have a lot of them because the clearance ones I got at art stores were actually decent quality. And I just painted and painted, and eventually I bought some canvases and I redid some of the foam board paintings, and a lot of them are really horrible, but there are two that I really did like. One of them I redid a flower painting that I did based off of a YouTube tutorial, and I actually like the foam board version better. I gave the canvas version away as a gift to one of my aunts, and then the second one, it was again a repaint of one of the foam board ones. I gave it to one of my art teachers. I may talk more about him in another video, but I don't have much more time in this one, so I'll elaborate later about that. And then I just kind of found it as a hobby. I eventually found my way to watercolors, and I really enjoy watercolor paints. I didn't quite understand how to use them at first. I was using them like they were acrylics, but I really do enjoy them now. And yeah, so that's kind of, this video went off on a tangent, but it kind of makes sense because it's a then versus now video. And that's really how I first started getting really into wanting to create my own art. And I've grown a lot since a year ago. I'm still not like the best, but it's all about learning and getting better and improving your skill. And even if you're doing like one piece a week or even once a month, it really does help improve. And yeah, so this is Sabro. About 11 years, no, more than 11 years, 12 years after he was originally made. So thank you so much for watching. All likes, comments, and subscribers are really appreciated. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!